Hello, this is JC De Guzman, and I am now going to report to you my daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis. This video is for May 24, 2019, in preparation for the next trading day, specifically for next week, Monday. I'll be talking about the following stocks. We will start with T, followed by SOC, House, 7, APO, LTG, ISM, PHA, DMC, and lastly, POPI. So everything that you're going to hear from me in this video is geared towards short-term trading. If you have any of these 10 stocks for long-term investing purposes, please post a different inquiry or separate inquiry inside our private clients forum, because everything, like what I mentioned in previously, everything that I'm going to talk about in this video is geared towards short-term trading only. Okay, so let's begin with TKC Metals Corporation. It closed last Friday at 1.43. Let's double check this. I think I also talked about T. Yes, I did, on Thursday. And I remember that I mentioned in my video for May 23rd that even though technically speaking the chart is a bullish on the chart wise, I was half-hearted to trade the name because of the erratic, inorganic, or unnatural growth of its daily volume, the fluctuation of its volume, and that's actually what happened last Friday. At first, I felt that I should have entered a new position on TKC Metals, but by the end of the trading, I noticed that even those traders last Friday on T were hesitant as well to push the stock at a higher price. As you can see here, it opened at 1.42 and then it hit an intraday high of 1.80 and then it hit again an intraday low of 1.38 only to settle at 1.43 in the end, just a centavo above its opening price. So you can actually see by the looks of this candlestick, of this one-day candlestick, the hesitancy or the hesitation of those traders on T last Friday. So even them are also eavesdropping with each other. So they are bullish, but they are not 101% bullish on TKC, so to say. Okay. Now let's check on the other indicators that we have. So because T closed higher than its previous closing price last Thursday at 1.35 rather, and then it closed on Friday at 1.43. Of course, the stock would just maintain its position above its 10-day simple moving average. MACD would definitely maintain its position above the signal line, and of course we will see all other indicators moving in favor of the buyers. Okay, of course that's what we expect. All of these indicators are relying on historical price movements, so they will just follow through. They will just follow suit, whatever, based on the latest price action. So they will just continue pointing towards the northward direction. So again, technically speaking, chart wise, T is still bullish. Does it make my overall sentiment change from half-baked bullishness to 101% bullish on T? Well, let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of TKC Metals first. So let me show you this. So here, on the trade and volume distribution chart of TKC, you can also see or feel the somewhat hesitation or the hesitancy or hesitation of those traders last Friday, because it looks like that almost every single traded price point got a seemingly significant amount of shares or volume. It looks like volume and the number of trades were evenly distributed It looks like everything is the dominant range. But if we are just to select one particular dominant range, I am going to pick I'm going to pick 1.5 up to 1.7. 1.5 up to 1.7. I think this is somewhere in the middle. So I would say if without being too strict, being too literally and technically strict on the distribution of the number of trades and volume, I would say it's a neutral sentiment for me on this trade and volume distribution chart. So consulting my personal risk tolerance, I just want to highlight that I'm referring to my personal risk tolerance on TKC. Okay, I would say that I am not still 101% confident to enter a new trade on T, because a part of me is whispering into my ears that yes, it's bullish in the short term, chart wise, based on your oscillators or technical indicators, it's bullish. But because of the non-organic or unnatural ascent in volume or increase in volume, any moment from now, these folks might just register a tall red candlestick. So a part of me is reminding me that uh, other version of my sentiment on T. So technically, chart-wise, it's bullish, but as far as my personal sentiment is concerned, I am not 101% confident. I am not saying I am bearish, but I am saying I am not 101% bullish in wanting to trade T. Well, that's my personal standpoint. You can consult your own, knowing that technically speaking, it's a bullish one. Consult your own, your personal risk tolerance. If you are still bullish, then you can go ahead and do a test buy on T within the dominant range that I've shown you, 1.5 to 1.7. But take note, it closed at 1.43 last Friday. It did not close within the dominant range, within 1.5 to 1.70. It closed at 1.40. Okay, consider those things. Okay, let's move on to the next stock. We have SOC. It closed last Friday at 0.94. Support is at 0.77. You can call that as a support range between 0.71 to 0.77. Resistance is at 1.05. It managed to continue its ascent above the 10 SMA. Unfortunately, the 50 SMA is still above the 10 SMA, and I think there will only be a change in position between the 10 SMA and the 50 SMA once SOC crosses above the resistance at 1.05. Nonetheless, the green candlestick last Friday was matched with the bullish green volume. MACD also made it above the signal line, and on the DMI histogram, it's well, it's clear here that uh, the buyers are in control, but the upward momentum is not yet on the very strong category. Not yet on a very strong category yet. Okay, so the conditions of my 10 SMA and MACD combo have been fulfilled. And how about the 4-point criteria? Is it a green candlestick? Yes. Did it close above the VWAP of 1.03? That's it. False. It did not. It closed at 0.94. Definitely not higher than 1.03. It's a green volume bar. Yes. So we got 2 out of 3 are yes. But what we're looking for is a perfect 4-point. We're looking for a perfect 4-point score. We just got 2 out of 3. How about the trade and volume distribution? Let's check. The dominant range is between 0.94 to 1.13. That's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. That explains why the price or why the stock closed at a price lower than the VWAP. Okay, so we got 2 out of 4. It's an imperfect 4-point criteria for me already. So As far as the conditions of my 10 SMA and 10 SMA and MACD are concerned, SOC is bullish, but it does not confirm. I have no confirmation of that bullishness. I did not get a confirmation from the 4-point criteria that we are checking. You already know that I don't just base my decision on a standalone method or a standalone indicator. I always get another indicators or another method's sentiment to see if there's an agreement between two methods uh, sentiment or reading for that chart or for that stock. In this case, we failed to get a confirmation from the 4-point criteria that we are checking. So I am neutral on SOC. I am neither bullish. I'm neither bullish nor bearish on SOC. I am neutral. I have a sideways sentiment for SOC. What does that mean? It might just trade the range between 0.71 to 1.05. So if you have had SOC, just follow your trailing stop loss. That's a golden rule. That's the most logical thing that you can do on SOC right now. But if you don't have SOC, before you consider doing a test buy, please consider my personal sentiment based on what I have read on the numbers of SOC. Okay, after considering all of that and matching it with your personal risk tolerance, if you're still bullish, make sure that you just buy within the dominant range, and you should already know where your trailing stop loss is even before you add the stock in your portfolio. Don't buy the stock first and then wonder later where your trailing stop loss is. Okay? That's a perfect recipe for a disastrous experience trading the stock market. Okay? Don't set yourself up to that kind of um, unwanted scenario. Okay, next we have House. House closed on Friday at 15.78. Support is at 12.88. The resistance, the psychological resistance, remains at the 61.8% of the up Fibonacci extension, which is at 16.23. It's already moving above the 10 SMA, and I'm still seeing, of course, we are still seeing a perfect bullish alignment among the three SMAs. And MACD is still moving above the signal line. And I am seeing here that the house has a strong upward momentum. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution of house. The dominant range that I see here is between 15.3 and 15.5. 15.3 and 15.5. It closed at 15.78. So mean to say there's still this one here, 15.76 to 15.8, but I think it was just force closed at 15.78. Still the dominant range is between 15.3 to 15.5. What does this tell us? This is a reminder that just in case house begins with a red candlestick on Monday, we will have to set our eyes on 15.3 to 15.5. So it's possible that house will trade actively again between this range. Okay, that's just my data-driven assumption. This is not a guarantee that it will surely happen. So we will have to adapt and adjust based on what we are currently seeing, based on the current data that we have. Okay, but that's it. So still the dominant range is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. So what does this tell me then? What does this tell me so that I would know what to tell you? This tells me that you should consider locking in some profits near 16.23 or anywhere near 16 pesos per share. Because I think what I just saw on the trade and volume distribution chart of house is already a sign that some traders are already prepping up to lock in their profits. Besides, RSI is already closer, it's already drawing closer to its classical overbought level. So that's another thing that we need to consider on whether we should hold or top up. Okay, but I would suggest consider locking in some profits from 16 pesos and above. Alright, so next we have 7. 7 closed on Friday at 124 pesos per share. Support is at 112.55, resistance is at 125.4. It's now much closer to the resistance than the support level. So consider that again whenever you are calculating your reward to risk ratio. So let's see here. The bulls have taken over. The bulls have taken over. MACD is still moving above the signal line. The price managed to increase its distance from the signal line or from the 10 SMA above the 10 SMA. There's still no perfect bullish alignment among the 3 SMAs. I think that will only happen once the price breaks above 125.5, somewhere here, 125.5, slightly above the resistance at 125.4. Okay, now let's take a look at 7's trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range, or should I call price point and not a range, would be 120. So that one got the most volume, the significant volume, and the highest number of trades last Friday. So again, that's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. Okay, so consider that. So if you have 7, what I just saw on the trade and volume distribution chart of 7 wants to tell me that I should tell you to consider locking in some profits near 125.4. Okay, so that's what I saw. Now, before you decide to enter a new position, I suggest that you wait for a pullback instead. Wait for a pullback. Just in case 7 will continue to ascend above 125.4, I suggest that you check if those 4 points that we are monitoring are all present. If they are, then you have a data-driven reason not to wait for a pullback, but to do a test buy within the most dominant range as of that time of checking. Alright, so I am bullish on 7, but for those who have it, consider locking in some profits at 125.4. Next, we have APO. APO closed on Friday at 0.79. Support is at 0.73. Resistance is at 0.9. It closed below its VWAP of 0.82. Alright, FYI on that. And then although volume is bullish, we already know that it closed below its VWAP. Bulls have taken over. The upward momentum appears strong based on the DMI histogram. But let's take a look at what we see. Let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart. Do we see a bullish sentiment coming from this chart? So the dominant range here is between 0.79 all the way to 0.92. So that's in favor of the buyers. So therefore, as far as the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo are concerned, we got one bullish sentiment coming from that one method. But for the 4-point criteria that we are monitoring, we have failed to get a perfect 4-point score. We just got 3 out of 4. So that makes me not so bullish on APO. Okay, and besides, it hit an intraday high of 0.93, but it just settled down at 0.79. So that already gives you a clue that the traders last Friday's traders did not see anything that's so convincing to push the stock higher or above 0.90. So they retreated a bit and settled down at 0.79. They were hesitant as well somehow. Okay, so my recommendation, if you have had or if you caught APO near 0.7, my suggestion is that you just continue trading the stock for as long as it's moving above your trailing stop loss. Once it hits, sell. If you don't have a PO, don't enter a new position just yet. Continue monitoring for now. Consider as well the fact that the volume last Friday was the highest since March 28. Okay, so you want to see some level of assurances, or not assurance, because we don't want to use that whenever we trade. We want to see another sizable volume for us to give us to for us to to have a convincing bullish sentiment to make a bullish forecast on the stock. Okay, so continue monitoring APO. Don't enter a new position just yet. Next, we have LTG. LTG closed on Friday at 15.10, so bearish, with a bearish volume. Support is still at 14.6, resistance is at 17.37 or 17.4. All signs are bearish. So let's jump to the trade and volume distribution. So the dominant range is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. It's between 15.1 to 15.16. It's in favor of the sellers. Don't trade LTG just yet. Wait for possible signs of reversals near 14.6. 14.6. Okay. Okay. Next, ISM. ISM closed on Friday at 6.21. Support is at 5.21. Resistance is at 7.36. It's still moving above the 10 SMA, but that red candlestick last Friday was matched with a relatively high bearish volume. MACD is still not registering a formation of a bearish convergence with a signal line, but I think one more red candlestick on Monday that will make MACD bend towards the southward direction. Okay, now let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart of ISM. So the dominant range here is between 6.2 and 6.3. It's in favor of the sellers. Okay, so if you have had ISM near 5.2 or below 6, just follow your trailing stop loss. You should be fine then. If you don't have ISM yet, don't hurry in entering a new position. Not yet, not yet. This is not yet the time. So wait for the appearance of those 4 points that we are monitoring. Okay, wait for those 4 points. As soon as they are present, that's the time that you should only consider entering a new position on ISM. So far, they are all absent. Okay, so don't hurry. Next, we have PHA. PHA closed last Friday at 0.78. Support is at 0.59. Resistance is at 0.9. It continues to move below the 10 SMA, so that's another sign of bearishness. In fact, MACD already registered a death cross, so it doubles the bearishness of PHA for me. Now, so it's more likely for PHA to retest the support at 0.59, which is somehow in confluence with its 200-day SMA. I think it will try to rebound here, but let's see. Once it touches 0.59, let's reanalyze. Okay, let's resynthesize if we are seeing a potential rebound at 0.59 once it touches that level. Okay, now let's see the trade and volume distribution chart of PHA. The dominant range is between 0.77 to 0.8. 0.77 to 0.8. That's still in favor of the sellers for me. So don't wait. Wait for the appearance of those 4-point criteria. Don't enter just yet. Okay, by the looks of this chart, since it has been in a downtrend pattern since February, I should not be giving any piece of advice for those who may still have it, because by now none of you should have PHA. Okay. Next, DMC. DMC closed on Friday at 10.12. It's it closed below its 10 SMA at 10.21. It also closed below its VWAP of 10.16. All 4 points are absent on DMC. MACD is still moving above the signal line. It has not uh, given us a formation of a bearish convergence with the signal line, but if it will register another red candlestick on Monday, it will most likely, this MACD line will most likely bend towards the southward direction also. Okay. As far as the alignment of its three simple moving averages, I would say that DMC is already in a perfect bearish alignment or perfect bearish position. The sellers are still in control. The downward momentum remains on a very strong category. So it's all the more that you should not hurry in buying DMC. Wait for a pullback near 9.7. So here's the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 10.12 to 10.22 in favor of the sellers also. So don't buy just yet. Wait at 9.69 for short-term trading purposes. Okay, last but not the least, we have POPI. POPI closed on Friday at 3.28. Let me plot the support level here and the resistance somewhere here, and then another midterm support level over there. So major support is at 2.84. So resistance is at 3.54. There's a midterm support near 3.19. Okay, so it's still moving above its 10 SMA. It also closed above its VWAP of 3.25, but that's still a red candlestick. All 4 points are absent on POPI. No, not all, but just 1 out of 4. Okay, one out of 4, or 3 out of 4 are absent on POPI because it closed above the VWAP. So that's 1 minus 4, or 4 minus 1. So there, it's a bearish volume. MACD is still moving above the signal line, but it has already started to show a formation of a bearish convergence with the signal line. The positive DMI is still moving above the negative DMI, but the positive DMI has been in a downtrend. It has been in a downward sloping position since May 20, 2019. So if this continues, if this downtrend will continue, the sellers might take over and might put the selling momentum in a very strong category. So when that happens, it will be all the more that we should wait near 2.84. But for now, let's see if it will respect the midterm support at 3.19. If it does, then it might rebound and bounce away from 3.19 to retest the resistance at 3.54. But if it continues, if it does not bounce away from 3.19, we should wait near 2.84 then. So this is the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 3.2 all the way to 3.3. Okay, 3.2 to 3.3. So in this case, it's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. But reminder, POPI on Friday gave us an opening price 3.35 that is lower than the closing price last Thursday. So meaning to say, even though on the trade and volume distribution chart it's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, we have to be reminded that the intraday high of POPI is lower than the closing price last Thursday. So still, whether it closes closer to the intraday high or the intraday low, POPI will still end up being bearish on the trade and volume distribution chart. Okay, consider that. You will have we also have to consider the position of the intraday high, in relation to the closing price of the previous trading day. So that's how we read trade and volume distribution chart. So here we see on the chart that RSI already hit its classical overbought level last week. That's why profit taking took over when the price drew closer to 3.54 or 3.55. Okay, so let's see. Take note of those pieces of advice that I've given you for POPI, but don't hurry for now. Don't buy POPI just yet. If you have had POPI, consider locking in some profits. So there you go. You've heard my technical analysis for these 10 stocks for May 24, 2019. This is in preparation for the next trading day. I would encourage you also to attend my advanced seminars in person. I will be having one in Angeles City, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, Cavite, where else? Just check on our website at www.equilis.com and then click seminars. Early bird rates are still up. The regular rates might take place sometime in June 2019. So as long as the early bird rate is still up, I would suggest that you book in or book your ticket. And besides, I can only accommodate 20 to 30 people per session, so that I can have more time to ask every student one by one, each student one by one. Okay, thank you for listening to this video. May I do hope that this video was able to help you, or is able to help you become an independent, responsible, and a profitable trader in the Philippine stock market. If you have follow-up questions, please post them inside our private clients forum here. My name is JC De Guzman for Equilist Analytics. Have a great weekend.